When people think of the ocean today, most imagine sharks, giant squids, or the occasional mysterious shadow on a sonar screen. And yes, those things are frightening. But the modern sea is nothing compared to the ancient oceans that once covered our planet. The deeper you explore Earth's past, the more the oceans resemble a horror anthology, a liquid nightmare where creatures evolved bizarre strategies to survive in pitch-black waters under crushing pressure. Prehistoric seas weren't just dangerous. They were laboratories of extremes, where evolution abandoned caution and rewarded whatever worked, no matter how strange or terrifying. The result was an astonishing parade of monsters, reptiles with dinner plate eyes, fish with extendable jaws, sharks that looked like broken science projects, and even animals that resembled alien feathers. Some of these beings vanished millions of years ago. Others, disturbingly, are still alive today. Life in the deep sea is shaped by scarcity. No sunlight means no plants, no photosynthesis, and very little food. To survive, creatures had to innovate. Some evolved enormous eyes to capture every glimmer of light. Others went blind altogether, deciding sight was unnecessary. A few solved the problem by creating their own light, dangling glowing lures to trick prey into swimming closer. And the strangest part? Because soft-bodied creatures dissolve before they fossilize, most of what once lived in these depths left no trace. For every predator scientists have identified, there were likely dozens more that disappeared without a record. The monsters we know are just the highlights, not the full movie. One of the most dramatic examples of deep-sea specialization was Ophthalmosaurus, a Jurassic ichthyosaur. Shaped like a torpedo, this marine reptile could dive more than 3,000 feet below the surface and hold its breath for over 20 minutes. Its giant 9-inch eyes, reinforced with bony rings, were built to detect the faintest flicker of bioluminescence. Where other reptiles hunted in sunlit shallows, Ophthalmosaurus ventured into the abyss and turned the darkness into its personal hunting ground. If Ophthalmosaurus was the night vision torpedo, Phosphorosaurus was the underwater owl. Unlike most reptiles with sideways-facing eyes, this 12-foot mosasaur had forward-facing eyes. The result was uncanny depth perception. It likely hunted at night, picking off lanternfish and squid while larger mosasaurs slept. In a family of bulky, bus-like predators, Phosphorosaurus was a scalpel, small, precise, and disturbingly efficient. Some deep-sea creatures embraced simplicity, become a weapon. The viperfish, which still exists today, looks like it was designed by a horror artist. Its fangs are so long they protrude from its mouth even when closed. Hunting is equally brutal. The fish waits motionless, then launches itself forward, impaling prey at full speed. To keep its skull from shattering, it evolved a shock-absorbing bone behind its head. Belly lights disguise its silhouette, while a lure above attracts prey. It is essentially a living booby trap drifting through the abyss. If the viperfish is brutal, the goblin shark is unsettling. With its long snout and oddly flabby body, it looks like a failed shark prototype. But when it opens its mouth, the entire jaw shoots forward nearly a foot, snatching prey in an instant. This strategy has worked so well that goblin sharks haven't changed in over 125 million years. Fossils look almost identical to the living ones we occasionally find today. Another deep-sea holdover is the frilled shark, a 6-foot predator with the body of an eel and the mouth of a nightmare. It has about 300 trident-shaped teeth arranged in 25 neat rows. Its hunting style is simple: strike suddenly and swallow prey whole. For most of human history, people assumed they were extinct. Then, in the 1800s, a few unfortunate fishermen caught them alive, proving they had been hiding all along. Not every deep-sea survivor was a predator. Tube worms, which still exist today, colonized hydrothermal vents spewing 700-degree water. Without mouths or eyes, they survived by housing bacteria that consumed toxic chemicals. These worms essentially outsourced digestion and turned poison into brunch. The coelacanth, another survivor, perfected hiding. Thought extinct for 66 million years, it reappeared in 1938 when a fisherman in South Africa pulled one up from deep caves. The fish had barely changed since its ancestors first appeared over 360 million years ago. Even stranger were ancient sea lilies, or crinoids. These animals looked like underwater flowers anchored to the seafloor, some growing as tall as 60 feet. Entire limestone cliffs today are made of their remains. Though most vanished during mass extinctions, some still linger in the depths, waving gently in the currents as they have for hundreds of millions of years. Some marine reptiles embraced the abyss completely. Ophthalmosaurus, whose name means bottomless lizard, evolved dense bones that acted like dive weights. While most reptiles floated, this plesiosaur sank deliberately into the depths. With massive lungs and a long neck, it hunted squid and fish along the sea floor. Further north, Ophthalmosaurus specialized in polar waters, where months of darkness made hunting even harder. It developed enormous upward-facing eyes to watch for silhouettes overhead. When prey appeared, it surged upward from the shadows, a real-life jump scare of the Jurassic seas. Some species abandoned sight entirely. Trilobites, once boasting some of the best eyes in the ancient seas, produced descendants that crawled blind through abyssal mud, relying on touch and taste instead. The strategy worked so well, they thrived for hundreds of millions of years. The giant isopod, still alive today, resembles a pill bug enlarged to the size of a football. These scavengers can survive for years without eating, waiting patiently for a whale carcass to sink to the bottom. When food does arrive, they swarm in grotesque feeding frenzies, gorge, then sit for months digesting. Then there was Ophthalmosaurus, a bizarre ammonite shaped like a 10-foot paperclip. Instead of the efficient spiral shells of its relatives, it grew a long U-shaped coil. It lived for up to 200 years, floating vertically and catching whatever swam by. Finally, the earliest complex creatures like Charnia resembled alien feathers standing upright on the seafloor. They had no mouths, eyes, or stomachs, absorbing nutrients directly through their surfaces. Their fractal bodies looked more like computer-generated patterns than anything natural. Though they vanished without descendants, they marked the beginning of complex life in the oceans, nearly 600 million years ago. The deeper into history we dive, the more terrifying the oceans become. Every layer reveals stranger adaptations: eyes the size of dinner plates, jaws that launch forward, and teeth that never fit inside mouths. Some species perfected their strategies so well, they barely changed for millions of years. Yet for all their monstrous qualities, these creatures remind us of something profound. Humanity eventually emerged in a world shaped by them. Our ancestors lived alongside giant reptiles, night hunters, and scavengers that could wait years for a meal. We were not stronger or faster, but we endured because we were clever and cooperative. In the end, the scariest predator was not a goblin shark or an abyssal reptile. It was us. While evolution created monsters to rule the depths, humanity created tools, lights, and machines to descend into their world and bring their secrets back. The ancient oceans may have been filled with nightmares, but it is humanity that became the ultimate force to be feared.